the amazing apple peeler. You take an apple, make sure the sticker's off it, oops, then you stick it on the prongs, then you slide the apple forward, and you take the little peeler, you'll slide the apple back here just a little bit to get more to peel, and then you start cranking. And you crank 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 and you move the pan out of the way while you're cranking. And you crank 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 and you crank, 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 and then you crank some more, and then you take the apple off because you have accordion apple. Woohoo! And that's how we peel an apple now in the modern age. Aren't you impressed? I mean, really, aren't you impressed? Because I'm impressed.